Welcome to today's webinar on marketing technology marketplace trends. I'm Scott Dill on the business development team here with Real Story Group, and my colleague Kashyap Kampella will be joining us on the line momentarily. Wanted to first thank you all for taking some time out of your day to join us for this presentation. I see a lot of new faces on our attendee list, which is always very exciting for us, so welcome. And to folks who have been on past webinars, certainly great to have you join us again. If you're unfamiliar with Real Story Group, the whole focus of our company is to really help our customers make smart technology choices. And we do so in three key ways. First is by publishing research, where we describe what the products do well, but perhaps more importantly for you as a technology user and buyer, what they don't do so well and where they could fall short. Another area in which we're working with our customers is through consulting engagements, where we'll actually come on site, be an extension of your team, and help you to either develop a strategic roadmap and a game plan moving forward to help tie your technology products together, or also during an actual selection project to sit on the same side of the table with you as you look to narrow down your short list and bring vendors in for demonstrations, proof of concepts, and then actually coach you through the negotiation process to make sure you're not getting oversold from the vendors and you're getting exactly what it is that you need to do what you set out to do with that particular project. If you're not in technology selection mode, but you're curious to know really how you're doing against your industry peers, we have a product called Real Score, where you can do a self-assessment and then really benchmark yourselves against your industry peers to see where you're doing well and where you have some room for improvement. This particular product includes the research on your incumbent vendor and also advisory time with our analyst team to help as you strategize about moving forward. What's different about Real Story Group versus other industry firms you may have worked with in the past is the fact that we're only focused on content-based technology. So therefore, we're able to actually cover more vendors than most analyst firms. For example, in the DAM marketplace, we're covering 34 vendors, same thing in web content management. And that gives you more choices. And that could be whether it's open source projects or some mid-market vendors. We're giving those the same attention in our research as we are to the major platform players. The other key differentiator is that we don't do any work for the vendors that we cover. And so that way we're able to provide you the real story about those products and if they're the right fit for what it is that you're trying to do. So with our infamous vendor subway map, this really spells out our coverage areas and the vendors that are included with each of those particular streams. In today's presentation, we're going to focus on the purple line primarily, where we discuss campaign and lead management technology. Other nomenclature for that would be marketing automation technology, or from a broader spectrum, digital marketing technology. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Kashyap to take you through the presentation.
Thanks, Scott, and a warm welcome to all of you again. And I just want to call out that if you wanted to get a high resolution version of this map, you could get it at the URL you see at the bottom of the screen, which is realstorygroup.com/vendor map. So it's a succinct summary of the digital workplace and digital marketing technology vendors at our coverage universe. And it's a good tool to help you get to a short list and a grasp of a marketplace. So please do check it out. So with that, let's get started on our main focus for the day. And before we do that, a quick housekeeping announcement. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box of the GoToWebinar panel that you see in the bottom left of your screen. So I'll get to those questions either at the end or cover them through the course of my presentation as may be appropriate. So let me start by looking at the trends for 2017. So these are things that we're seeing in the marketplace that are creating a lot of buzz. And also, more importantly, what's been priority for Chief Marketing Officers, CMOs in 2017. So if you look at this tag cloud, some of them are long-standing topics. They'll be familiar to you. Topics such as omni-channel marketing, real-time marketing, personalization, marketing automation, mobile responsive design. So while these are fairly long-standing topics, there are others such as other themes that we're seeing: content marketing, video marketing, data management platforms, account-based marketing. So these are more recent, but they're coming of age, and there is a lot of interest in adding them to a marketer's toolkit. So the third lot, or the third category I see in this are very new things, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, virtual reality, bots. So there is definitely a lot of hype about these things, but in our surveys, in our discussions with customers, these are very much in the early adoption phase. There is a lot of curiosity, some pilot projects, but we don't find a lot of actual on-ground implementations when it comes to this lot of things. But what we're finding is that marketers are having to grapple with two challenges. The first thing is that they have to make sure that the foundations for the bread and marketing activities, such as marketing automation, they have to make sure that these foundations are solid for these. But at the same time, also keep an eye out on emerging technologies. And as they mature, and that's key, as they mature, add them to their portfolio. So at RSG, we always hold that tracking trends is important, but it's also important to select the right fit tools that help you implement the maturing technologies in your marketing portfolio. So there is this famous quote in this book called The Little Prince. And I find that's very relevant for marketers today. Our space is notorious for spinning out new buzzwords. There are also many fads that are mistaken for enduring trends, and hype can very easily get ahead of reality. Very often we find that immature technologies and unproven techniques, they're touted as ready for enterprise deployment. And the vendors and the media as such is very good at creating FOMO, or a fear of missing out. You'll find that in the last few quarters, the hype has been the loudest for artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, and whatnot. I mean, to be fair, no doubt, some of these have the potential to disrupt MarTech, but in our assessment, that appears to be much further down the road. So our advice is there is a small proportion of early adopters, for instance. For them, these may make a lot of sense, but for the vast majority of the enterprises, our advice has been to stick to the knitting. I mean, focus on the core campaign management, focus on things like eliminating data silos, increasing the quality of the data that you have, focus on enhancing the skill sets of your teams, and improve the maturity of your MarTech practices. So the stronger these basics are, the foundations are, the better place you'll be to exploit these newer techniques that are coming down the road as they improve and mature. So that's going to be a strong focus and theme for my presentation today. So if you have a lot of these new buzzy things that are being thrown at you, how do you maintain a healthy sense of skepticism? How do you think about these things coming down the pike? So I'll try to give you a framework to think through those things. So I picked up a few of these niches or trends based on a lot of the inquiries that we get from our enterprise customers. So our business to consumer customers, B2C folks, are asking us about augmented reality, virtual reality, and bots, while B2B customers have been asking us about video marketing and content marketing. And can we do something about these things? What should we be doing about these specific niches? So our response has been that, I mean, these definitely are going to be part of the brand strategy, but what we're seeing is that most likely they're implemented in a tech silo. I mean, there is definitely, I mean, each of these has their own specialist vendors. Usually innovation in this marketplace is provided by smaller vendors rather than the larger marketing platform vendors. And none of the larger marketing platform vendors that we cover currently support a lot of these things. To be sure, I mean, you may find them supporting content marketing or video marketing through a tuck-in acquisition that they've made, or a vendor they picked up in the last year or two, but mostly the specialist vendors are who are holding the torch here. So if you're going to implement these niches, I mean, go in with the understanding that probably that's going to be a proof of concept. It's going to be in a silo for a very specific business result you want to deliver in a shorter time frame of mind. So Lila, I mean, I've been looking at augmented reality, and it's been quite interesting. If you remember last summer, we could speak of nothing else but Pokemon Go when it was released. So suddenly augmented reality was on the C-suite radar and CMO agenda, and everybody formed teams to explore further as to what we do types. I mean, it was really, really hot. But then step ahead to a few quarters, what do you see? I mean, most of the customers have abandoned it. I mean, sure, there is still a few hardcore fans, but you see that you don't think of augmented reality today in the as being or driving your MarTech agenda. So if the rise of augmented reality was meteoric, I'd say that the fall also seems to be epic. The peak had been reached. So this raises an interesting question of, should you go after as a marketer, should you go after every new shiny new trend? Hold on to that thought. So there is a very popular quote in marketing circles, which is, half of my advertising is wasted. I just don't know which half it is. So this is a quote almost a century ago, more than a century ago in 1916 by John Wanamaker, who was a pioneering marketer himself. So he is behind many marketing innovations that we take for granted today, things like money back guarantee. He was the first one to take out a first full page ad in a newspaper, adding price tags to products and whatnot. So, but his insight that half of the advertising dollars are wasted, and clearly, in this era of big data, predictive analytics, machine learning, and whatnot, intelligent software, we don't have this problem, right? But data-driven marketing should have made this a problem of the past. Let's see what happens. So interestingly, it appears not so quick. Some of you will be familiar with the Facebook fracas in the last few months. So Facebook, there were a lot of concerns around the actual benefits that folks have been getting out of Facebook advertising. So Facebook has admitted that their metrics have been off when it came to video viewership, reach of the articles, and the user engagement. And now, if you think about it, social media marketing and campaigns are a staple of almost every brand, and much of it goes to Facebook. So despite the abundance of data, my point here is that what's working, how effective we are, it can still remain a black box. Here I'm not picking on Facebook, but I'm just using it as an illustration. Similar issues plague the digital marketing world. I mean, it's not to say that you should get off Facebook or shouldn't use social media or any specific newer channel, but it's not that skepticism may be in order. Obviously, if you went in advertising on Facebook with a specific objective in mind and believed in those metrics, you probably would have still done it, even if the metrics were slightly different. But your tactical execution in terms of how much resources to allocate to that channel and what to prioritize, I would think that would have yielded different answers. So I've sort of been trying to connect different disparate dots, but this is the message I am working towards. If you step back and reflect on the bigger picture, what gives? So my contention here is that the arc of progress here when it comes to marketing technology is zigzag. As we saw in the case of augmented reality and Pokemon Go, there are small opportunity windows that open up for marketers to capitalize on. They open up quickly and they close as quickly. I mean, this is not a new thing. I mean, previously there was something called Second Life. I mean, some of you will be familiar with Second Life and how it was deemed that every marketer, every brand should have a presence in Second Life. But that too did not endure, but had gone away. So new niches keep emerging, and for these new niches, specialist vendors And usually not large marketing platform vendors are the ones that supply the innovation. So from a implementation point of view, from a technology point of view, you should be geared towards running with that dual model of working with larger vendors, at the same time being able to bolt on additional specialist vendors as may be needed. So another message here is there are different niches. As these new niches mature, they become part of the core. Things like what do I mean by the core here? Customer segmentation, email campaigns, lead management, lead nurturing, web experience management. They are very much the core of digital marketing today. But we also have this constant churn or creative destruction. Both the enduring trends and fads are two sides of the same coin. So we at RSG, we define like, we think of what does it take to be successful in digital marketing technology world today. Based on all the trends, based on all the things that we're seeing in the marketplace on the left side, which we talked about, we say you should be able to adopt customer-centric marketing approaches that are agile, and implementation of such strategies and approaches requires a best-of-breed technology strategy. And you should develop and refine your capabilities in a continuous manner. Let's look at each of these things in a little bit of detail. So what you see here is what we call the customer-centric model of MarTech. So as buyers and implementers of technology, we often can get lost in technology for technology's sake and miss the woods for the trees. We sometimes tend to forget the bigger picture, is that all our efforts are really geared towards enabling superior customer experiences. So here is a framework that's meant to help put the customers and their needs at the center. Tools and technologies and techniques that we use need to serve, they need to inspire, help us inspire these customers. They provide value to the customers by enabling them so that they come back. So we evaluate a lot of the vendors. I mean, you'll see the vendors that we evaluate in the next few slides, but none of them do that for you. Your task as marketers and our task as marketers is to figure out, how do I use all of these tool sets to help my customer discover, transact, and belong? So if you look at the light blue circle in the middle, these are the journeys that the customers are probably taking with you. And you probably do this on a mobile device or a website, in store, or in a kiosk. So there are all these nuanced and detailed customer journeys that you need to map out for a specific customer cohort. And what could be the particular actions that they may be taking on the website or on the app or any other channel. And to have those specific tool sets, so technologies to better enable than your competition with customers. So if you look at the gray circle, slightly outward gray circle, it maps the experiences to particular journeys. And the outward purple circle is showing you the enterprise services, because marketing doesn't exist in a vacuum, but all the technologies and tools that we're talking about have to coexist with the rest of the enterprise tech stack. And these also need to be enabled in your organization. So you can take this model and you can fill this out. You can go to a meeting as a marketer or as an IT person and sit with your stakeholders and say, here is the technology. Here are our gaps. Here is where we're going to plug, what we're going to plug into each of these boxes, in the purple circle and the gray circle, and this is how we're going to enable these experiences. It's quite a powerful model, and you probably need to spend a lot of time thinking through identifying strengths and weaknesses for the maturity of your own marketing practices and tools. So, I mean, needless to say, today, marketing technology is a best of breed strategy. I talked about how you need to have strong technology foundations. These foundations are not just in terms of tools, but also in terms of the data layers and the various data repositories that you have. And then various very specific experiences, channel specific experiences that are enabled by the toolkits on the right side. So I just wanted to give you a snapshot of the key marketing technology marketplaces that we cover. You saw these on the earlier on the subway map, but here is a little more detail on that. So campaign and lead management, another moniker for these is marketing automation. So here is the list of vendors that we evaluate. Then there is digital and marketing asset management, which is again a mature marketplace with a lot of options for you as a buyer. And then there is the more long-standing web content and experience management, again another mature marketplace with a lot of choice for the technology buyers. So in each of these categories or streams, our specific focus has been to take a specific technology or a product and evaluate it against the specific marketing business applications it enables. So we would, when you're considering tools, we would encourage you to take that approach rather than functionality or the capabilities of the tool, but take it one step beyond and see how do I map these capabilities to the specific marketing use cases that I want to support. So across these three streams, we evaluate 82 products. You can download samples for each of these streams to get a flavor of our evaluations. So I wanted to talk about, I mentioned about how you need to build your capabilities in an ongoing fashion. So I wanted to talk about that as well. So what you're seeing on this slide is a framework called Real Score that we developed. You could again take it for a test drive at the URL that you see at the bottom here called realstorygroup.com/realscore. So, I mean, improvement starts with understanding where you currently stand. So that's the premise behind this. To understand why your enterprise may be underperforming or performing well, or areas in which it's performing well, you need a holistic assessment of your current effectiveness. So what you're looking at is a framework, like I said, it lets you rate your maturity across several foundational or enabling factors. So I talked about how your marketing tools should enable your customers. So here is the other side of this, which says, what are the various techniques and tools that help your organization as a marketing organization? Do you have the right expertise, right skill sets and people? Are you managing the right scope? Are you focusing on the right things? Do you have the right process in place? I mean, we could, I mean, spend hours discussing this thing. Or where are the areas that we can optimize, potentially automate different things? Do you actually have the right systems? We find that it's frequently the case that you may have a perfectly adequate system, but you don't have the right expertise, or you're not managing the right scope to actually make effective use of the systems that you already have. I mean, it's interesting. We've conducted this assessment exercise for, I mean, dozens of customers, and each time, and you find that each enterprise's what's fascinating to me is that each enterprise story is different. This model helps you realize where the gaps are and whether you might need to enhance your capacity or capabilities in a specific area, or you might even need to replace your existing tools. I mean, it always, the insights it throws up are fascinating to me each time we do this exercise. So what I wanted to sort of tie this all together, I mean, there is a best of breed stack that's a necessity or a reality for marketers today. And then we've been advocates for a technology selection process called Agile Selection. And overall marketing itself is becoming more agile and more drawing upon practices from the software development world. Not necessarily, I mean, the specific techniques, but in spirit, agile practices, minimum viable products, giving rise to minimum viable campaigns instead of long drawn out campaigns. So there are several practices that you can draw upon from the software development world. And the real score that I showed on the previous slides, that also lets you test yourself or assess yourself against that. So, I mean, what we find that given the diversity of the marketing use cases, it's not uncommon to see 15 to 20 different tools in use across a large enterprise. And anchor tenants for this MarTech stack are a campaign management tool, and there is a CRM or a single source of truth for a customer of data. So once you have that anchor defined, that foundation, you can add on the web content management, the digital asset management, the commerce or mobile, social, and specific tools in that stack. I also want to point out at this stage that by now you should be aware of the integration challenges of the channels, tools, and data as you're working on ensuring super customer experiences. But don't forget the usability and the UX of the various tools that you have to use as marketers yourselves to do your job. You don't want to be, as you have to use these multiple tools, pay attention on how easy or how difficult does that make your own job. So we've been championing and successfully helping our clients with this agile selection process that Scott talked about. We field tested an empirical method for technology selection for close to 2 decades now. So a lot of literature on this and a lot of webinars are public on-demand webinars are available on our website for agile selection on how to select the best fit software for your needs. So please do explore the resources that you have available on our website. So that brings us to the conclusion of what I wanted to discuss today. So I will hand it back to Scott at this point in time so that he can explain how you can get in touch with us or stay connected. Scott?
Thanks, Kashyap. Great conversation there about the digital marketing marketplace and some of the trends to expect. As Kashyap mentioned, you can go on our website and download an excerpt from any of the research topics that we cover. You can also try out the tools that we discuss, particularly the Real Score effectiveness tool, along with our Real Quadrant application to get you to the right shortlist faster. And with that in mind, I did want to mention next week's webinar where we'll address how to select software in a hurry and some tips around what's a good way to do that if you need to meet a deadline and you got to get to the right shortlist quicker to get to a technology solution that's going to work for your team. So we certainly hope you can join us for that. That's going to be Wednesday, the 24th at 12 p.m. Eastern. And just as a reminder, all the attendees today will be able to take a look at the slides. We'll get those out to you within the next couple of days so you can review those, and please feel free to share those with your team. Kashyap, any questions that you see?
Yes. So there was one question which said, like, I mean, can you sort of, you talked about a lot of things, so can you sort of summarize in a nutshell what are the key takeaways that I see? So in closing, I'd say that we're seeing that the marketing automation tools deliver on some of their promises of data-driven marketing, personalization at scale, targeting offers. But we also, on the other hand, we also should counsel that we're seeing that success requires building up considerable expertise in terms of people, process, and tools. And you need to be aware of several issues. And I mean, these are workable. I mean, you can solve those issues, but be prepared to solve issues around data quality, expertise, and some amount of vendors over-promising and under-delivering. And we recommend an agile approach both to technology selection and implementation. So with that, it's a wrap, and we look forward to hosting you on future webinars. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.